Welcome on, people. What's happening? I realized something the other day. I was watching back some of the stuff and I kind of just came onto this thing just being like, hi, my name is Bobby Gordon and I'm an actor. And I mean, if you're watching this, I assume, aren't we all? So do I have any weight for people to listen to what I'm saying? I mean, I really should, talk a little bit about myself, right? So I thought, right now, let me do the story so far, right? Now, acting for me, let's just start from the very beginning. I wanted to become an actor because of two people. One person which started it off, and then the second person just from the variety of roles I saw him in growing up. And the person who got me into acting was Will Smith. And I remember watching TV when I was younger and my mum saying to me, I did something, I mimicked something that he did. And she said, you'd be great at acting. And I said, do you think? And she was like, yeah, I think you'd be great at it. But I never thought it could be anything. All I wanted to be before then, and this was around like 10, before then, all I wanted to be was a football player or a race car driver. And that was the only two things I wanted to do, right? And then, so the idea of acting kind of came, it just started to marinate in my head for a while. Anywho, I didn't do much. I just kind of had the idea that I'd love to get into it, don't know how to, but I was focusing on football, to be fair. So when I was just coming up, I was playing football and I had a scholarship to go play football in America. But I had the football accident that every footballer seems to have. I done my knee. And then the dream just went out the window, and then acting really started to be my main focus. But before then, what happened was I was 16 years old and I was doing drama GCSE, and my teacher said, I'm doing a play outside the school. And he asked me to be in it. And I said, really? He was like, yeah, I think you'd be great. I've got a character in mind. I said, cool. And it was called Dragon's Creed, and it was at the Watford Palace Theatre. And this man was called Marlon Prince. All praise be to Marlon Prince. Because without you, I probably wouldn't even be sitting here right now, even contemplating the idea of being an actor. So, thank you. And you know what, I'm gonna reach out because it's stupid that I haven't. But it was because of Marlon Prince, and I played a character called Bo. And it was actually one of the It was actually one of the craziest of experiences for me, because I got to really just be someone I wasn't for once. I got to just explore a different characteristic and just give my interpretation of that, and it was liberating. And a few friends came, which was great, and my godparents came, and one of them's cousin happened to be an agent. And what happened after the show was I ended up getting put in the paper, funnily enough. And this was, it was crazy because I just didn't even think I didn't think I'd even be noticed in it like that. I had a decent role, don't get it twisted, I had a good role. But there were people there that was really putting their all into acting, like that's what they wanted to do and all these types of things. And although I enjoyed doing it, I didn't really understand how to get into it properly. But then after the paper, they said they want to meet. I've got an agent. I've got a cousin, and I think you should meet them. Now, this person was called Michelle Brayman, and when I met this woman, lovely woman by the way, but when I met this woman, she had her wits about me, and I understand it. I had no experience. She only saw me because really I knew the right person. It's who you know. And just because I got put into a paper and I got a really good review from someone she was close to and respected, she then was like, you know what, I'm gonna give you a chance to see what happens. So I was like, all right, cool, just give me a chance and see. And then, so what happened was she put me up for one audition. I think I got a good response back, and it was a good response, but I didn't get it. The second audition I went up for was Star Wars, and this was the one that John Boyega got. And I got to one of the final rounds. I ended up going to the casting director's house, like one last push type thing. And I didn't get it. I didn't have enough experience. And plus, to be fair, the right man got the job. John Boyega was fantastic in it. And to be fair, if you lot haven't seen They Clone Tyrone, well done to the man. Well done to the man. And then, so back to the story. Because I had got that close, she kind of had no choice but to think, oh, he must be alright because he got close on something that was going to be huge, and Star Wars was and is huge. So she was like, okay, cool. He could be decent, let's see. But bear in mind, she hadn't actually seen me act, which is still crazy. So it was all just a wrist thing, but she was just seeing how it was. And then she put me up for my third thing, which was Youngers. And I ended up getting the role for a small part. And I was like the pretty boy gangster or something like that. And I was in the first 2 episodes. And that was my first taste of film life, or just working on a set, having a trailer, and then having someone on call just to help out if need be, and getting a certain type of treatment. But I didn't actually understand, but I would. Hey, I ain't gonna say no. So that was one of the best first experiences I had. And then after that, it was just quiet, no lie, for 6 years. Probably about 6-7 years I didn't get anything. And it was a tough time, but at the same time I went to uni, I got a degree, came back, I even tried working. I tried a 9-to-5, and it was while I was working for a good friend of mine who passed away, rest in peace to her. Yeah, rest in peace to my brethren, man. I didn't realize how much of an inspiration he was until he left, but if it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't be where I am now, because he not only helped me fund the lifestyle I was living at the time, he gave me a job, but he also believed in me, and he let me leave my occupation to follow my dream as an actor, and he let me do that. And the phasing out of it was so good to make sure that I could survive even whilst I was trying to do it. And Marvin was, he was a special guy, and he was one of the first people, like I said, who believed in me, and he let me kind of leave to kind of pursue my dream. And it was after 5 years, I just didn't get anything. And I actually think that because she hadn't seen me, she didn't really know what to do with me. Like, as a show role, she only had 2 things. And look, it's difficult to push someone when you're not fully behind them. I was just on their books. So I thought, you know what, let me just get into the deep end, man. I felt like I was not cheating I didn't feel like I cheated my way, but it was easier for me than a lot of other people. So I wanted to actually see if I could act. So then I went to myself, you know what, let me just see if I can enroll into some sort of school or something like that. So I couldn't go spend the full time at drama school, so I enrolled into Identity, which was, again, an experience in itself. And it was a great kind of way to see what my position was at the time, to see really where I was as an actor. And the whole experience was mate, it was great because I needed affirmation, to reaffirm to myself that I wanted to do this. And it was great to actually learn from other people and to grow with other people. That was great. And after a year at Identity, this is what actually happened, yeah. So after a year of Identity, they have a showcase. And I did the showcase, and me and one other person got asked to come back and to audition for their agency. But at that time, I had just signed with someone else because I had left my old agent and said, I'm not really too sure this is what I wanted to do. And once I did that, I realized this is what I wanted to do, and I had to kind of come back, but I didn't know if I could go back to her. So I was shopping around and stuff. So I had some agents like that I could have contacted. And what I did was I sent a cheeky video to one of them, just explaining my situations, being sorry about what I did and stuff like that, and really how I think it would be great for us to work for each other. And she gave me a shot. But basically, that's why I had an agent at the time. And then afterwards, I couldn't afford to go to Identity to come up with the bills, with the money for just like the term. So I ended up having to drop out, which was irritating because I kind of felt like I was back at square one, but not back at square one, but at least I had representation, which was good. And funnily enough, within the third audition, it was Hollyoaks. And I'm going to talk about Hollyoaks in a separate one. So for the next one will be Hollyoaks to right now, but from right now I wanted to kind of just detail what it took for me to get from my first job, or my first kind of thing that I did, to getting the first breakthrough role for me, which was Hollyoaks. And oh man, it was a decade of more no's than yeses. And like I said, I've only been in, really, when it comes to credits, one thing before Hollyoaks, and the gap between Hollyoaks and that was like 6-7 years. And between then, I was a builder, I was a sales associate, I worked at a fair few places. I did the setup at festivals. I did a hell of things, to be fair. Luckily, I was able to do some modeling, which allowed me to make it sometimes you can make some good money modeling. A lot of the time is rejection, but sometimes you might get that job and you're cool for a couple months. So modeling was helpful at times, but really I couldn't rely on it. It wasn't banging for me like other people. So other things, like I said, other little hustles I was just doing to try and just figure things out. But it took me a decade for me to be I made it onto screen. Like I got a job which made me feel like I got one foot through the door. That's what the feeling was when I got the job at Hollyoaks. I got one foot in, and now I want to cement myself with two so I can start running up the stairs. When I get on that staircase, it's peak. It's peak. And I think because I have that mentality, I'm not going to stop until I get to somewhere and I'm going to be like, oh, well done, Bobby. Which is a problem because I'm not able to enjoy the process and the journey, because it's easy to, think about the lows whilst you're in it. But realistically, man, I've made several choices. I've made so many choices to make it in regards to which direction I should go in, and it's always brought me back to this. At the end of the day, I'm not going to stop because this is what I love doing. And this is actually the crux of why I wanted to do this, but I wanted to grow this community. I wanted to find other people who may not have got to where I've got to. They may have done a fair few things, and it just didn't bang as much for them to get to the heights of where they thought they or think or want to get to. But they're on their way. They're almost there. Everyone's time is different. So that's what yeah. But okay, so the story so far, it's been a fun one, but the beginning stuff was interesting, man. I mean, at the end of the day, you're growing up in London. I think the hardest thing really was just dealing with the fact that a lot of people had more money than me for the majority of the come up, because more time you have to be flexible, whilst other people are diving into their profession already, making enough money to think about, or being able to save. I think that's one of the hardest things to do when you're in this profession, because when you make the money, you have to have the money to survive, but because you don't know when the next paycheck is, it's difficult to kind of, regulate your money in a way to sustain, because if you don't work for a while, you're going to have to dip into your savings, aren't you? So that was a difficult thing that I had to deal with. But you know what? On the road, I met so many good people. So many good people that I'm just eager to work with when the stars align. Because it's so difficult, man. Everyone knows how it is right now. Writer strikes and all sorts. So this is a good time for us to come together. It's hard. We all know it's hard. But I think if we're all striving for the big cinematic, big money productions, and if that's what everyone's always striving for, it just means that there's a pinnacle that is unattainable because only certain people can produce that type of thing. No? That's what I'm saying. But yeah. I think that's enough for right now, because the next one I'm going to do is going to be talking about from Hollyoaks to where I am right now, which has been a surprise more than anything. But at the end of the day, everything that I've done so far has actually just molded me into a stronger man. Yeah, I might be a bit of a pessimist at times, but I am hopeful. But it's one of those things where it's interesting. Anyway, everyone's time is different. I just hope that my time is gonna come, but I feel it. But it's like, I have my own ambitions that I'm trying to achieve. So that's the only reason why I may not think I've reached the heights that other people may put me on. You know, some people may have thought, well, you've made it and all that type of stuff, but I don't think I have. So there's many things that I have to, you know, just like work on, and especially after the time, during the time since I've come off the show, it's really been a great time for me to look back and think about what direction I need to go in, what I need to do next, what things can help me go in the right direction, and other ways for me to maneuver. And it's one hell of a journey, and I'm learning that every step, and I'm hoping that you guys follow me on this journey, because I hope it's going to be a hell of a ride. Oh, well, listen, that's enough for today. I love you all for checking in. This is like my 4th episode. I didn't really think I was going to even do this many. I thought I was going to do one and then get bored, but I'm just going to carry on, and I appreciate everyone who's been showing love. There's going to be more stuff, more exciting, more stuff to come, because at the end of the day, I need to keep saying, so I gotta keep on doing something. Might as well bring you guys along for the ride. So peace and love, peeps.